Hey everyone, what is going on? Mike here, and today I'm going to be showcasing to you guys a deck that I've had so much success with that it doesn't even make sense. Now I normally don't show you guys my little deck manager area, but I thought this was worth pointing out. I have a total of 4 wins and I've only played 3 games, so yeah, take that in. Does it make sense? Probably not. Doesn't make sense to me either. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but again, for whatever reason I have a 133% win ratio, so I think you guys are going to love this deck. But all joking aside, this deck has been performing pretty well. It's pretty powerful. It is another evolution type deck, but this one is going to run with the Excadrill, which has the Dredge and the Mac Claw attack. Now, the really nice thing that I like about Excadrill is that although its Mac Claw attack does take a couple of energy cards for us to be able to start attacking with it, Dredge can significantly help us out even if we have a single energy card attached to that Excadrill, because whenever we do make usage of the Dredge, we're able to search our deck for any 2 energy cards and then attach them onto this Pokemon. Of course, it also has the Omega Barrage ability, allowing us to attack a total of 2 times per any given turn. So that's really nice, and also keep in mind that of course if we can take advantage of our opponent's weakness with the evolutions, we're often able to get those big one-hit knockouts. So Excadrill is actually a pretty nice Pokemon, and likely it's going to be one of the last sort of evolution decks that I'll be showcasing, at least in the meanwhile, because I have a whole lot of different types of decks that I do plan on showcasing to you guys. Unless you guys can suggest to me a fantastic evolution deck that you've had some great success with and that I have not showcased yet, I may eventually go on to that. Noivern with the wide lens is definitely on my list, but for some reason it's not working properly on the Pokemon TCG Online, so I'm just waiting for the wide lens issue to get fixed up. Anyways, that is the Excadrill. We also have, of course, 4 copies of the Drillbur, but it's not really outstanding. I mean, its entire purpose is to evolve into that Excadrill. Moving on, we have the Eeveelutions. So first of all, we have 4 copies of the Eevee, of course, which have 3 respective evolutions, which we are running in our deck. So first off, we have the Flareon with the Flare effect. We're running 2 copies of it in our deck, allowing each of our stage 1 Pokemon in play to be a fire type in addition to its existing type, so that's kind of nice. We also have the Vaporeon, allowing that Excadrill to be a water type, and of course we have 2 copies of the Jolteon, allowing that Excadrill to be a lightning type Pokemon. We have a total of 2 copies of the Shaman EX, as well as our very last Pokemon. It has the setup ability, allowing us to draw until we have a total of 6 cards in our hand. So it's just nice to have a little bit of draw support. We can afford to sacrifice a little bit of bench space. I mean, ideally we'll have maybe 2 Excadrill set up, 1 or 2 evolutions, and then the Shaman EX as well, potentially even 2. So Shaman EX does work quite well in this deck. We're running 2 copies of it. We have a total of 2 switch cards as well, guys, one of them being the switch, one of them the escape rope. Of course, that's just for us to be able to successfully switch in between our Pokemon. We have the Sacred Ash. I think works really well with this deck as well, just because Excadrill is pretty much the only attacker in our deck, and we'd like to be able to reuse them whenever possible. You guys may even want to increase the total number of copies of the Sacred Ash to a total of 2, or potentially run an alternative attacker. I'm not really sure, but I think I'm just going to stick with 1 Sacred Ash just for the time being. If I do feel like there's going to be some changes, I'll be sure to tell you guys, as it's sort of like a little analysis portion towards the end of my battle. If I remember. If I forget, I'm really sorry, but I should be able to remember. I mean, I don't think I have short-term memory loss, and let's hope I don't. So anyways, moving on, we have 4 Ultra Balls as well, of course. That's just to allow us to grab the Pokemon that we need. It's a shame that we can't run a deck based strictly on level balls, because I do love level ball, but of course we have the Shaman EX and the Excadrill, so Ultra Ball just works a lot better, hence why we are running 4 copies of it. You guys could potentially squeeze in a level ball or 2, but I think 4 Ultra Balls does the job pretty well. We have 3 copies of the VS Seeker to allow us to reuse our supporter cards. We have the standard draw supporter, so a single Ace Trainer, 4 Birches, and 4 Sycamores. We have 2 Lysanders, of course, as well, just to allow us to lure out the opponent's bench Pokemon. Hex Maniac, I think, is a bit of a nice card, just because the Excadrill will likely have a lot of special energy cards attached to it, and that could be troubling, especially if we come across an Aegis/EX type deck, for example. So Hex Maniac, pretty nice card. We'll be running a single copy of that in our deck. We're also running a single copy of the Teammates, so whenever our Pokemon do get knocked out, we can go right ahead and search our deck for any 2 cards of our choosing. Again, Teammates works pretty well in this deck, hence why we are running a single copy of it. We're running 3 copies of the Steel Shelter, such that our Excadrills will not get affected by any special conditions inflicted upon them by our opponent's Pokemon. So this can be kind of nice. I mean, there's a lot of decks that we do see out there that run Pokemon such as the Ariados that inflicts the poison damage on us. Steel Shelter will prevent that and hopefully allow that Excadrill to survive a little bit longer. We have 3 Muscle Bands, of course, to increase the total damage output. We have 4 Steel Energies, 4 Double Colors Energies, and a total of 4 copies of the Shield Energy. Now, I'm actually thinking about slightly cutting down on this because we're not allowed to attach our Steel Energy cards unless we have Steel type Pokemon, and Drillbur is unfortunately a Fighting type Pokemon, so I've actually been considering scrapping that out. But if anything, our deck result says that I do have a 133% win ratio, even though that doesn't make any sense. So we will temporarily be sticking with that. So that is going to be the deck analysis portion, and then we're going to go right ahead and find ourselves an opponent. Alright, looks like we found ourselves our first opponent, and it's gonna be a fighting type deck. So let's see how this works out. I would love if it was a what's it called? A Mienshao deck, because our deck completely destroys it, given the fact that we are able to attack twice per any given turn. Looks like our opponent is actually going to allow us to go first. That's a little bit unusual. We don't tend to run across too many decks that allow us to do such a thing, but looks like we're going to start off with a Shaman EX, and I'm going to go and attach a Double Colors Energy onto it. We're going to see a Machop, but still, I have actually seen some Mienshao decks that do run the Machop, and then eventually the Machamp, just so that they can get some additional fighting power with those respective Mienshao. So we're gonna have a Drillbur as well. Looks like we're gonna see a Fighting Stadium, a Fighting Energy card getting latched onto that Machop, but it's only gonna be able to hit us for 10 damage due to that resistance, and that Shaman EX will essentially come back right into our hand. So let us go and bring out an Excadrill. I'm gonna go and attach the Shield Energy onto him. I think we have a pretty good hand, so I'm actually gonna go and lay down the Hex Maniac just in case our opponent is able to draw onto a Shaman EX or something like that. We may actually be able to win during our next turn. Sky Return, that is going to be 30 damage, and that Shaman EX coming back into your hand. So is this really going to be game 1 for us? If that's the case, we'll absolutely be finding ourselves an additional opponent, and we are going to see that rare candy, the Machamp, making its appearance. But yeah, actually we're falling a little bit short in terms of being able to knock it out. We do need a Muscle Band or something like that just to increase the total damage output a little bit, because we're only able to hit for 50 damage at the moment. So that's hopefully something we can get. We're going to see 2 Fighting Energy cards. Machamp not able to attack just yet. I'm gonna go and bring on the Shaman EX and hope that we can draw to something useful. If that doesn't happen, then I'm gonna go and use the Professor Birch's Observation. I mean, we're running a couple copies of the Muscle Band, so we should hopefully be able to draw into one. So let us go and bring that Double Colors Energy, the Eevee, Shaman EX. Are we gonna get a Muscle Band? Not just yet. Alright, Professor Birch's Observation, a Tails, no Muscle Band. Our opponent is gonna be able to survive for now. So let us go and use Mac Claw. That is going to be 50 damage. Mac Claw one more time, and unfortunately our opponent is still alive and well, but that Machamp is going to fall short from being able to knock out that Excadrill. I mean, it could currently hit for 100 damage, minus 10 damage due to the Shield Energy, so that is only going to be 90 damage. Again, if we don't see a bench Pokemon, this is going to be game for us. So this may actually indeed be a very abrupt game. Maybe our opponent just got extremely unlucky. He should not have let us go first. Okay, we're gonna see the Ultra Ball and a Maxi Cinnaball Trick and a Medicham. Alright, so it looks like it's actually a Medicham deck that our opponent's running, so that's kind of interesting. 2 Omega Barrage decks facing off against each other. If our opponent again brings out a Pokemon that has 50 HP or less, we would be able to win the game. No, it looks like he was smart enough to bring out a Lucario EX and a Professor Birch's Observation, so we're going to see a bit of draw support as well. Okay, so our opponent is actually indeed going to be able to survive, hitting that Excadrill for 90 damage. Luckily for us, though, we are able to survive. I'm going to go and attach the Double Colors Energy onto that Drillbur. I'm going to hold off on the Ultra Ball for now. I don't really think we need it. And we can't really, unfortunately, take advantage of our opponent's weaknesses, so we may not see the Eeveelutions in action a whole lot during this particular battle. So let us go use Mac Claw. That is going to be 10 damage. 10 damage, really? Why so little? This attack's damage isn't affected by resistance. I don't actually know why we're hitting our opponent. Oh, right, Machamp. Yeah, okay, sorry. So I just noticed that the Machamp was able to reduce the damage by 40 damage. I don't actually attack with Machamp a whole lot, so that actually definitely comes as a bit of a shocker to me. We're going to see that Lucario X. Unfortunately for us, that Excadrill will definitely be losing his life. All our opponent needs is a fighting energy card, but he's also going to have a muscle band to top it off. So we're going to see a Karina as well, a Machop making its appearance, and let's see what other card our opponent will be grabbing into. Looks like it's going to be an Enhanced Hammer. Probably going to be targeting our, Drillbur, I'm assuming. Yes, so that Lucario X will definitely be able to attack. Had he chosen to discard... No, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know why our opponent wouldn't have discarded an energy card attached to our Excadrill instead, but I am not really complaining. Alright, so I'm actually going to go and use the Ultra Ball to get rid of the Escape Rope and the Lysander for now as well. I mean, I could Lysander out the Meditite or the Machop, but I do want to take care of that Lucario EX first, so let's go right ahead and look for an Excadrill, and then I'm going to go and use the Professor Birch's Observation, which I believe is the only draw supporter card we have in our discard pile. Yes, that is correct. So let's go and use it. Hope for the heads, guys. Are we going to get it? No, looks like we're going to get a Tails. And no energy card as well. That is unfortunate. I don't really think we're going to need a whole lot of EVs, so I'm going to hold off on those just for the time being. Let us go and use Maclaw. That is going to be 70 damage. Maclaw one more time for 70 additional damage. And really hoping that the Lucario EX can't attack us because we have a terrible hand. No, it looks like our opponent is going to get a fighting energy card. So unfortunately for us, our Excadrill will absolutely be losing its life during this turn. We're going to see Karina. I'm assuming it's going to be, yes, a Machamp and the Rare Candy. That is going to increase the total damage output of each of our opponent's fighting type Pokemon by 20 additional damage. So, I mean, our opponent had a pretty terrible start, and he's definitely starting to make a comeback, so I have to give it to him, so good job. We're going to see Battle Compressor as well. That's a little bit unusual, so I'm wondering what our opponent's trying to do. I'm guessing the Battle Compressor was meant to work with sort of a turn 1 Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick strategy, and we're going to see Primal Groudon EX going into that discard pile, a Hawlucha, and a Fighting Energy as well. Alright, so our opponent definitely doing some interesting things. I guess I'm going to go and bring out the Excadrill. Should be able to survive an attack from our opponent. And awesome, looks like we have the Professor Sycamore as well. Again, I feel like our EVs are just going to be sort of wasteful. I'm not going to bring out a Flareon. Instead, I'd like to bring out a Jolteon because it has absolutely no retreat cost and I can freely retreat them. Alright, so we do have the Jolteon. I'll absolutely be bringing that out. I'm going to go and attach a Fighting Energy card onto that Excadrill. Let us start off by using the Dredge and look for 2 shield energies. That's going to provide a little bit of insulation for us, and then use the Maclaw for 50 damage, knocking out that Lucario EX and allowing us to draw onto 2 prize cards. Alright, so that Medicham will have a very difficult time knocking out the Excadrill at this point because, again, we're able to take advantage of that shield energy for some insulation, and that just makes life incredibly difficult. So it looks like we're going to see a Meditite make its appearance. Yes, I feel like knocking out that Lucario EX may have just sealed the deal, guys. That Medicham does require a total of 2 energy cards to be able to attack, and I personally don't really think our opponent is running any of the what's it called, the stadium card that allows us to use their previous evolutions. I always get these little brain farts, and it always makes me feel so stupid. But yeah, I'm sorry, I can't recall the name, guys. My apologies about that. But I'll slowly be loading up that Excadrill on our bench. And I'm really hoping our opponent's not running any Ace Trainer cards. I mean, he has already used this supporter for turn. It looks like we're gonna get hit for 20 damage. That Excadrill, that Meditite getting a little bit of a boost of power from that Medicham. So I'm gonna go and attach a Muscle Band on to that Excadrill. I'm gonna go and attach the Double Colors Energy onto our benched Excadrill. Let's go right ahead and use Maclaw. That is going to be 70 damage and a prize card for us. Let's see what Pokemon our opponent decides to bring out. And come on, we're just waiting to see which Pokemon our opponent is going to be bringing out. I'm assuming it's most likely going to be that Landorus, because it can at the very least survive an attack. I don't think our opponent wants to give up an additional Meditite. That wouldn't be incredibly smart. Okay, yeah, it looks like indeed it is going to be that the Landorus. Maclaw, 70 damage one more time, and that is going to be the end of our turn. I mean, those shield energies are really nice, but it's unfortunate that our Drillbur is not a steel type Pokemon. So that's That's definitely something that can be harmful to us sometimes because we can have a shield energy in our hand and we just cannot attach it to any of our Pokemon, and that's just a waste of a turn. So we're going to see Karina. Looks like our opponent's going to grab onto a Landorus, and the item card, what is it going to be? A switch card, I'm assuming? Potentially escape rope? No. Looks like it's going to be a muscle band. Alright, so that's definitely a bit of an interesting choice. Our opponent is going to concede the game, so that is going to be game one for us, guys, and we're going to go right ahead and find ourselves an additional opponent. Alright, moving on to battle 2. Let's see what type of deck we're going to be facing this time around. Unfortunately, I didn't take a close look at our opponent's deck composition, but I'm assuming based on the little based on our opponent's cards, I'm assuming it's going to be a fairy type deck. So, alright, looks like we have the Drillbur, and this could actually be a really good game for us just because, of course, that Excadrill is a steel type Pokemon, allowing us to inflict lots and lots of damage. But no, it looks like our opponent was sort of misleading us. Looks like it's going to be an Oddish, actually. So that's definitely not something I was expecting. I'm going to start off with the Steel Shelter, the double colorless energy, and I think I'm actually going to go right ahead and grab onto a Shaman EX to draw onto some additional cards. So let us go and see if we have one in that yeah, so we do have one in our deck, so that is definitely very awesome. I'm going to go and attach the Muscle Band on to that Drillbur as well. Bring on that Shaman EX and hope we get something useful in our hand. Alright, so we have a Drillbur. We have an additional Ultra Ball as well. I mean, I'm thinking we could see the turn 1 item lock. And you know what? Let's go and look for an additional Shaman EX. Hopefully it's not something I regret, but it's too late. I'm already gonna go for an additional Shaman EX, so let's go and grab that out. Alright, so that's Shaman EX number 2, and let's hope that this pays off. Bring it out, and yes, we'd like some additional cards. Awesome, awesome. We have 2 Excadrills, and we need to play and end this game hopefully within 10 minutes time before the Pokemon TCG Online goes offline for some maintenance. So, alright, hoping we can push this game along rather quickly and our opponent doesn't stall too much because those Oddish decks can take quite a bit of time to set up. And sorry guys, I'm actually just fumbling around with my microphone right now. It's not in a position that I like. I'm just playing around with it, and for some reason it just keeps going down. Really annoying right now. Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to bear with it. So I'm sorry if you guys hear a little bit of static, and that's just me playing around. Yeah, so I guess I was kind of smart. Our opponent does have the Forest of Giant Plants, and we may indeed see that turn 1 Vileplume making its appearance. Come on, you stupid Mike. And alright, there we go. Of course, when I say stupid Mike, I'm not referring to myself as stupid. I'm referring to my microphone, just in case you guys think I'm whatever. Anyways, our opponent is going to use that Ultra Ball as well, and I'm assuming it's going to be a Vileplume or a Shaman EX as well. Okay, it looks like it's actually going to be Florges EX. Our opponent may just use the Sycamore or something like that. Yes, and they're definitely looking for a Vileplume of their own. We're going to see that Trainer's Mail. It looks like our opponent is indeed running some Fairy type Pokemon, so that can definitely be used to our advantage because, again, we do have that Steel type Steelbur, and our opponent is going to get item locked as well. We're going to see a Swirlix, presumably because our opponent is running lots and lots of Slurpuffs. An Ultra Ball one more time. It's either going to be a Shaman EX or a Vileplume. Which one is it going to be? Looks like it is indeed going to be that Vileplume. But we should be able to knock it out, guys, because we'd be able to hit it for 70 damage per attack. So let's go and bring out that first Excadrill. I'm going to go and attach the Shield Energy onto it. Hopefully it will allow us to survive an attack from that Florges EX. Bring out an additional Excadrill. Use the Mac-Claw attack. That is going to be 70 damage. Mac-Claw for 70 damage one more time. And that is prize card number 1. So things are going pretty good for us right now. Again, we do have the typing advantage, so this Excadrill deck again seems to work pretty well. But of course, I don't actually know the actual win ratio of this deck. I'm pretty sure I've lost at least once with it, but apparently I have a 133% win ratio, which is definitely not possible. So we're just waiting to see what our opponent decides to do. I'm assuming we're going to see that Florges EX make its appearance. Reason why I'm saying that is because in case our opponent doesn't have anything useful in their hand, yes, at the end of the day, they would be losing 2 prize cards, but they can still take advantage of the lead attack to search their deck for a supporter card, and that would at the very least allow them to get something useful which they can make use of. So it looks like our opponent has potentially gone inactive. I'm hoping it's not a disconnection. Again, the servers are going to be going offline very soon. So if this is the end of the game, guys, I think this may just be it for the Excadrill deck. But I'm sure you guys have a pretty good understanding. And yes, it looks like that's going to be our victory. I don't think we have time for an additional game again. The servers are going to be going offline. So yeah, unfortunately, that is going to be it, guys. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of stats to look at this game. But again, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like and the subscribe button as well. Also, be sure to check out those annotations for a random video and my previous video as well. Check out my Twitter and Facebook account if you guys want to be eligible for some awesome Pokemon giveaways. And of course, if you want to ask me some questions and you'd like me to help you out. And finally, check out my second YouTube channel. I'm gonna start having a lot of content on it very soon. Again, I'm just trying to get things worked out with Omar. And yeah, so that is it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.